So if you're a banker right now, it's loan application after loan application after loan application. Our banks are actually overwhelmed. I heard in a discussion the other day with Nick Browning of Huntington Bank that they've taken more applications in the past few days for these PPP loans than they have taken in the entire last year, and they are the country's largest SBA lender. So please give your banker a little bit of slack right now. We know everybody's rushing to get these in. Take the time to look at the different requirements for the EIDL and the PPP loans. They may be a little different for you in terms of suitability. You can only apply for one. So check that out with your accountant, with your banker, or if you need help and support to sort of think about those options, send us an email at covid19@greaterakronchamber.org. We do have members who are willing to give you a hand and think about this with you and your business. Speaking of financial resources, the Summit County Emergency Small Business Relief Program has received a ton of applications over the last week or so. Those applications come to a close at 9 a.m. on Monday morning, and we know that we don't have enough resources for everybody that's applied. However, we continue to accept information about people's businesses and the issues that they're facing because we believe there'll be more funds to be made available through this fund as the federal government continues to respond to this crisis. That data will help us make the case of the impact on businesses in Summit County and how they can be best helped. In addition, we will be responding to folks who put applications in to make sure that you know about the additional resources that exist broadly for help and support for your business. If you're watching the updates like I've been in Ohio, we are beginning to bend the curve here, which is a great thing, but we're not there yet. So please continue to practice the social distancing that's been put into place. If you're not an essential business, please find ways to sort of work from home and stay out of the mainstream to keep your employees safe, to keep our community safe, and to help continue to make this fight against COVID-19. If you have PPE that you want to donate, again, there are resources on our website, and there's a link below to get you to Summit County Public Health, who could utilize those resources. And if you're a manufacturer who thinks you can manufacture PPE or provide some more supply to our hospitals, our health systems, and our frontline workers, please reach out to us at covid19@greaterakronchamber.org. Talk to Greg Kramer and his team. We are making those connections every day with our health systems, and we appreciate your help and support. It's hard to remember right now that we're in the middle of an election season. Ohio's primary election has been pushed back to early June. We encourage everyone to continue to think about getting their mail ballot to vote and participate in this year's primary elections. In addition, we are endorsing the Summit County Metro Parks levy. This is a replacement levy to support this important amenity for economic development in our region. Many of you probably have enjoyed the Metro Parks in some different ways than maybe have maybe earlier in the season over the last few weeks as we've been trying to find new ways to get out and about as we deal with COVID-19 quarantine. But again, the Summit County Metro Parks levy, an important asset for our community and one that we do support. Education and professional development is an important thing to think about for your employees all of the time, but especially now, many of those employees may have a little additional time as work paces could be slowing down for some companies, or folks find themselves temporarily laid off from their jobs. There's a new initiative, Upskilling Summit County. You can look to Stark State College's website for more information about that. We've worked with the state to make a couple $100,000 of resources more freely available to help people do upskilling, advance their knowledge, advance their skills in certification programs. And so there's more information about that at Stark State College's website, and lots of other organizations have made these resources available. NeoMed is also offering a remote opportunity for folks to learn about Six Sigma and to become a little bit more qualified in that space. And actually, they'll lay the foundation for going back to actually get their Six Sigma certifications at a future time once those learning opportunities and those project opportunities become available. But we're really encouraging folks to think about how to develop the skills of your team during this time. And again, Stark State College, NeoMed, both offering some interesting distance learning opportunities to skill up your workforce. Many of us have spent the last few weeks thinking about how to respond to this crisis in our businesses. McKinsey has an interesting framework out that is a good way of thinking about how we're going to move through this crisis. Think about the idea of how do you resolve the immediate challenges? That's what we've been focused on mostly in these last couple of weeks. Then how do we begin to address some near-term cash management, some of the near-term issues of resiliency for our businesses that we need to put our hands around? Beginning to think now about how we return to business. Once we get to the point where we can get back to business as usual, whatever that may be, how do we get back as quickly to scale as possible with as much effectiveness? That's the next phase of the planning that you should be thinking about as an owner of a company or a leader of a company. Then we move to reimagination. How do we reimagine our businesses? Normal's going to be different going forward. We've all learned new skills, we're using new tools, we're thinking about work a little bit differently. How do we reimagine our businesses in the context of the new normal going forward? And then finally, what's the reform, if you will, that we're going to see happening? What kind of regulatory and competitive changes are going to happen in your industry due to what we've just gone through? Good way to think about 5 steps to sort of going from where we are now to where we're going to be in the future and some of the considerations that you have along the way. Finally, just ending with a couple of fun thoughts that I've come across, has come across my desk here in the last week or so. We had a great call the other day, and Joe Camphor from Gojo was on the call. Many of you know Gojo is the company that creates Purell, the hand sanitizer. They're working at 3 times the normal pace right now to keep up with demand, and they still have more capacity. What's one of the limiters? Their source of supply, alcohol. Seems that we're all drinking about 1.5 times more than we usually drink, and that's limiting the sources of supply for things like hand sanitizer. So if you want to help out Gojo and help out the sanitizer business, maybe cut that drinking back to normal levels. It will help us all get our hands on a little bit more sanitizer. And finally, another small tidbits that I saw, Walmart is reporting on the sales that they've got and things that are moving through their supply chain. And interestingly, tops and shirt sales are up, but pant sales aren't quite following, and you can't find a webcam anywhere. Go figure. Have a great week.